there's a story that a lot of people don't know much about, and I've been kind of seeing it here and there on Telia Urey's Instagram page. Now, you remember Telia, she came on the show about twice, and she talked about, being in Liberia and different experiences, where her cousin Telia Urey was running for District 15 in Liberia. Now, that's fine if you want to run for public office and try to make a difference in the Western African nation of Liberia, which is the nation that Abraham Lincoln had sent the slaves back to, was Liberia. Even their flag, they was given the star by the U.S. government at the time period. So Liberia was supposed to be the place for us to go. So it's a history with Liberia and us. Now, the reason why I'm making this video, not so much to get into the history of Liberia, but what's going on with this particular election that they have and why things have gotten pretty dangerous because of the president. Now, the current president, George Weah, if I'm saying his name right, he was a soccer player. OK, he didn't have a background in politics or anything like that. So I'm just kind of putting that out there before we get into this. Now, he doesn't like Telia Urey's father. Don't like him at all. He accused him of things that was disproven. He's going to call him names, but he's never been brought up on any type of international criminal court charges, because you remember Liberia had a long civil war, and due to him surviving that civil war, and he made a businessman out of himself. He had a telecommunications company that he created. He sold it to, I think, MTN. If anybody know about MTN, you know what that is. And he made a good deal on that. He still has businesses now. So some people in Liberia take issue with him on that portion, but we want to focus on Telia. Now, this first video I'm going to show you is going to be the president. Now, this president, I want you to hear exactly what he's going to say, but what he done in this video spirals something else. And this is why when you are in leadership, your words matter. For instance, Donald Trump, right? He says all these things at his rallies, and then you have some very, very ignorant people that follow people like that, and then they go out and do stupid things. Well, this is literally the exact same thing, but just in Liberia. But let me go ahead and show you this first clip.
There's no way, but I will be specific, because I want to look for force today. This is why I came with my cars and the government. I came today, rally today, as George Weah with my car. If you look at my car, there's no government flag, because I want to be free to talk. Telia Urey is not associated with victory. The only thing I can recall about Telia Urey, when he wanted to be off sanction list, I'm talking for sanction list. I reached the church of Ghana for him to even make the first travel, and he are calling off cockroaches. This is a man that never ever won anything. His supporter is a brother or a cousin, Telia Urey. I told him I would defeat him. I defeated him 78% with Jordan Doe Sherry. And then, when I defeated him, he came again to test my resolve. He killed himself to get into the race. The same race I was in. What a mockery to democracy. I gave him 61.5%. And today, he took my democracy. He forced his daughter to be on the coalition ticket. But that's why I will leave it with you. You need to flog that little girl, so Telia Urey can know that what happened to him to a farm. He and farm, he did not get one vote. We are the Congress, the Democratic, we are the coalition of democratic change. We will defeat anyone in this Maserati. Get ready. Tighten your belt. There's no way the Ureys can win in this Maserati. You know why they can win? Because they are wicked people. They can't win because they are wicked people. We are cockroaches, but they are killers. These people destroy the lives of Liberian people. So they cannot win here. We are cockroaches, but they are thieves. They are killers. So a Urey cannot call cockroaches with all the things he has done to humanity and think now he can win an election in Maserati. This will never work. So I want to send a caveat to Mr. Urey. If he hearing me, I'm not speaking of the president of Liberia. I'm speaking of the leader of the coalition for democratic change. I defy Benina Urey. I defy Benina Urey. He will never ever, whether his cousin, his nephew, his daughters, or him, will never win an election in this country. The only way a Urey will win in this country is said there is no George Weah.
Now, after you heard what he stated, he was calling Telia a little girl. She's not a little girl. She's a grown woman. She has her own business. She does okay for herself as well. She's educated. And he was saying that as long as he is in the presidency or he's around, a Urey will never be in any kind of government office. Now, why is he taking it that far? But as you heard, he was encouraging them to act out, encouraging them to be on some Pookie and Ray reaction. And on the next clip, you're going to see that actually happen. So they went to Telia Urey's, campaign headquarters, and a bunch of Pookie and Ray Rays that follow the president shows up over there. And I want you to see exactly what they done. So everything that you just saw there, right? Nothing but Pookie and Ray acting a fool. And the police was sitting there not doing anything. Now you have people, Liberian citizens, under siege, and yet the police just stand there crossing their arms while Pookie and Ray just acting a fool, throwing rocks, the Liberian Pookie and Rays, because of that president is stirring them up to do this instead of saying, hey, we have two opposing parties. Let's put our issues on the table. Let's have a democratic election and let the best person win, right? And this is not even a presidential election. This is a district election. It's not even a Senate election. So the thing is, it still got worse. Now, there's another video I want to show that they started attacking and their car ran away from these people. I want you to see this video. So we'll roll this next one. So as you saw, they were running away from the people. They did crash, and thank God that they wasn't killed in the streets, okay, with this situation. Now, we put some pictures up, as you can see the damage to the vehicle. This is utterly wrong. Part of us here at the African Diaspora News Channel is going to talk about everything that's within the black family, whether it's in the continent of Africa, Caribbean, right here in America, Afro, Latino nations, doesn't matter. We cannot sit by idly and allow this to go on without exposing this, because they don't care if these things are happening. This is what black international media is supposed to cover. I know some people are seeing this, and I know some of you who talk a certain way will say, see, that's why I don't want to go to North Africa. First and foremost, we got problems right here in America. Don't even get me started with that, okay? You have problems in certain nations. But you have nations like Ghana, for instance, very stable nation, South Africa. You have, Uganda, Kenya. Is many nations that don't have these issues and problems. But the problem is the president that stirred all this up, because they had no problems at all. They got over their civil war. It was fine. George Weah is the one that stirred all this up with the people. And you're not a president if you're doing things that way. It's the same thing with this one here in America. You're not a real president if you're trying to stir people up, your own citizens, against another citizen to the point they're becoming violent. That's not what president's supposed to do. President is supposed to bring people together as one and under a nation. And if we have different ways of making the nation better, okay, we can discuss that. But we don't become violent with each other because of opposing opinions, or you have a personal beef with someone that didn't do anything to you personally, right? So the next clip is going to be Telia Urey herself, okay? She's going to tell you the whole story of everything that happened. And when I heard this, and there's one little part that I heard that really inspired me to make this video, and for me to contact Reuters and say, hey, Reuters, why didn't you let me know all this was going on? And she told me, I've been posting on my Instagram, and said, no, you should have told me this. Like they told me do something with this, because I don't like seeing things like this. And one thing I know, when the diaspora start finding out about things on the continent, things change. Because I remember in Zambia, when the Chinese was going to take over their power company and all of us start reporting on it, all of a sudden the Chinese start backing off from that. And I believe if we all start looking into Liberia and reporting what's going on, they don't like when the diaspora or anybody international start looking at them, because they have to clean their act up. But I want you to hear her press conference. Exactly what happened to them is utterly sad.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, fellow Liberians, to our distinguished political leaders of the collaborating parties, and our chairman. On March 25th, 2019, we, the people of District 15, lost a great man, Honorable Adolph Lawrence, representative of District 15. Due to his death, we had a by-election in the district, which I took part in. I decided to take part in this election because I knew the void that his death brought to Liberian politics in general and to the people of the district. And to the people of the district. Our campaign started in May. We ran on the ticket of the collaborating parties. We stuck to a simple, people-centered campaign, door to door, not much engagement in the press, with the press, and just talking to our people and convincing them that we want to lead because we want to tackle some of the issues that we see our district faced with. Not once in our campaign did we ever mention our opponent's name. Did we ever mention the name of the President of the Republic of Liberia in any negative sense? We stuck to our message. We stuck to what we wanted to do for District 15 and for the Liberian people. Youth empowerment, creation of jobs, bettering our health and educational sectors, and so forth. Women empowerment. On June 22nd, at the launch of the CDC's campaign at their headquarters in Congo Town, the President of the Republic of Liberia got on the podium and spewed words of hate, division, political rhetoric that we should only see the President spew out during maybe campaign periods. He said that unless he is not President of the Republic of Liberia, would a Urey ever win election. He said that I particularly am a loser and that I come from a background that should never be allowed to hold a position in Liberia. Before his statement, we never experienced violence in District 15. We all campaigned in our separate areas in harmony. After his statement, we started to experience violence in the election. The first incident happened at our headquarters in Logan Town, where supporters of our opponent Abu Kamara, this was the first incident, came to our headquarters, started exchanging verbal abuses with our supporters, and it ended up in a physical altercation where rocks were thrown. Nothing major, just I think maybe 2 minor injuries. After that, we had another incident at our headquarters. It was a day that both Abu Kamara and I were closing our campaigns. The day before the closing, our leaders met at the magistrate's office in Brewerville, where we laid out routes that both parties would be taking to avoid any collusion. To our utmost surprise, that afternoon of the launch, Mr. Kamara's supporters took our route. They blocked the route that we were supposed to be taking. The police blocked the route that we were supposed to be taking, and his supporters took the route that we were supposed to take. Before that, they came to our headquarters and began their attacks. I'm sure many of you in the press saw videos, saw photos of what happened that day. Our people were locked up in our headquarters for over 7 hours. When rocks were being thrown, people were being brutalized in the streets. They were carrying caskets with my pictures on it, saying that day they were carrying my casket because that day would be my death, my political death. Over 20 people were injured that day. We reported it to the police. We called the police director. We called different people within the police, even the justice minister that day, to help save us, help rescue us, and nobody came to save us. That evening, I believe it was around 7 o'clock, we finally got help from the police station. I think it's important to also note that our headquarters is right across the street from the Logantown depot. The police stood there, as many of you saw in videos, watching as our headquarters was destroyed. Our people were hurt, and they did not come to help. Eventually that evening, the police came in and removed people one by one, until everybody was able to leave the inside of the building to go home. The building was left in complete ruin, complete and total ruin. If you go to the headquarters today, you will see that when it rains, water just falls into the headquarters because the zinc was totally destroyed. The second attack happened at this particular headquarters, where our supporters came to celebrate our victories. To our utmost surprise, the police came here and they started to attack us, and seditionists came here and they started to attack us. That also led to injuries. Just last week, while we were at NEC, waiting to get the results of our case, the ruling on our case, our supporters gathered outside to show solidarity with us. Women gathered in their numbers, standing on the side of the road, holding placards peacefully. The same thing happened. Rocks were thrown. Women were injured. As we speak, women are still in the hospital due to skull fractures. That went by. Yesterday, again, I went to Mr. Kelvin Bayo's office to meet with his campaign team. His office is right on Logantown Broad Street. While in the meeting, we started to hear a lot of screaming outside, commotion. Telia Urey, get outside. Logantown is not for you. We don't want to see you in Logantown. But before I get there, let me not move too fast. Yesterday morning, I went to the wedding of one of my friends and supporters, a member of our media team. After I left his wedding, I took a walk to meet a bishop, the Bishop of Kingdom Embassy. While I was in the meeting with the bishop, Some people, some officials from NEC walked in and said, I'm not allowed to be in this church because this church is one of the quarantine areas. And I said to her, the results that are quarantined are at NEC. I came into this church to speak to the bishop of this church. After we left, while walking back to the car and just speaking to the people of the community, a group of seditians came with a megaphone behind me. Telia Urey, you are not welcome here. Logan Town is not for you. Do not come back in this community. With a megaphone walking behind us as we left the church. My securities tried to run me into the car, and I told them I will not run because I will not be intimidated, and nobody owns Logan Town or owns Liberia that they feel that they have the right to come and kick us out of the community or violently push us out. I maintain my posture. I continued to speak to everybody that I had to speak to before getting into the car. Right before I could get into the car, rocks started being thrown from left to right. That's when they are called more people to come and attack us. I was hit by one of those rocks. And I got into my car and I left. I went back home because I had mud all over me from what had happened. And I left Caldwell and I came back to that meeting at Mr. Bayo's headquarters in Logan Town. As I said, while we're in the meeting, people started to scream the same thing. We don't want to see you yet. You come back in that place, there will be problem. Logan Town is not for you. Mind you, I've won more centers in Logan Town than my opponent. So I don't know exactly which Logan Town they're referring to, but it's not the Logan Town of District 15. It didn't stop there. While sitting in the office, we just hear the glasses burst. A rock. They threw a rock into the office that we're sitting in. At that point, all of us ran out. When we got out of that office and got into the living room, everybody jumped in and said, do not come outside of the building because they're throwing rocks and different objects straight through the garage where our vehicle was parked. They took me into another room right next to the office, which didn't have a window. And we're sitting down there as the rocks were falling in, tumbling in, coming in. We're just sitting down in fear. I called my father, my mother, Senator Dillon, Senator Yomblin Kaga Lawrence, and everybody else. And Mr. T. Max also called because his brother was also in the meeting. I called Henry Costa also, and I asked them to please send help for us now because there's no way for us to get out of this place. They said that they called the police, and they called I guess the police director and other security personnel to come and try to reach us. I asked the radio stations too to please, because obviously after what we have encountered with the police over the past 2 months, I am not confident. I wasn't confident, or I didn't feel secure sitting there waiting for the police to come and save me. Radio stations, D15 and both Smart FM, started to make calls onto supporters to come and try to see if they could rescue us. At this point, the rocks are still coming in. Police did arrive about 20 minutes into the incident. They stood on the road watching as all of this was going on. We stayed in that building for an hour and a half. Police arrived there 20 minutes. We stayed in there for an hour and a half. While we were in the building, people were just getting injured. People are getting injured. Our people are getting injured. People trying to go out come in. I was on live at a point, you will see all of the people coming in. Some of the people that are injured are right here. Mr. Sambla is one of them. But there was nothing we could do to overpower the people that were outside. They finally tried to get me out to get into my car. By the time I could get out to my car, the car had already left because they had burst the back of the car and somebody had jumped into the car to attack the driver. This I didn't find out until after the event. While we're standing in the living room waiting for an opportunity for us to be able to run out and exit, a guy came running in with a knife. And before he could get to me with the knife, our people grabbed him to save my life. All around the building. We could smell the gas inside, and they said that they were going to burn the building down. We can only thank God that we're here today, because that was a direct assassination attempt on not only my life, but the life of all of those peaceful people that were in that office yesterday. A man called Mr. Johnson walked in. This is after probably an hour had passed of us just sitting there helplessly waiting. And he came in and he said that he's going to go out and try to get help. He went out house to house until he found somebody that was kind enough to offer to bring in his car to get us out of there. At this point, I had already been injured. I felt it hurt my leg. They rushed us into that car, and this is a man that I've never met before in my whole life. They rushed us into the car. About 10 of us got into the car, and they all shielded me, and that's how we're able to escape that office that day. The police were right there. They were standing right outside for over an hour watching us get attacked. 105 specifically was begged by at least 4 members of our team to please bring his car, not his car, the government of Liberia's car, to come in to the garage so that we could get in the car and he could get us out there so that we don't die. He refused. He refused. He refused at a time where they blocked all of the roads. At a time where they had burnt my car, attacked my car, burst the windows, hurt my driver. He had to flee from in the car. I'm sure many of you saw the video of it. So it was a trap. If nobody from within the area that they blocked had come with a car to save us, we will not be here today. This is the government of Liberia. The police that's supposed to be protecting all of Liberians. The total amount of injuries that people from our camp have sustained, over 45 people have gotten hurt. These are people that we can trace. These are people that we have had to treat. That's not a small number. The question now is, are we protected? And if we're protected, who are we protected by? When the president sits at a podium and tells people to flog that little girl with no limits, and his followers and his sympathizers do just that. I may not have the biggest injuries, but when you hurt a supporter of ours, you're hurting me. So when you say flog that little girl, you put not only me in harm's way, but other Liberians that have done nothing to deserve the suffering and the pain and the brutality that we've been faced with. We are not safe in District 15. Women, and I always say that women have been the backbone of our movement. Our women leaders are being terrorized and harassed. Just last night, we had to take 4 women out of their homes into hiding. They were chased with their children because they support us. When NEC came out with the ruling, before I even go there, on election day, we experienced the same thing. And I want to highlight these issues about 105 because every single violent attack that we have experienced, he has been involved. On election day, in the same quarantine areas that we complained about problems being, he arrested our people. The police in that area molested our people. This same 105 was present that day. If you watch that video on the day that we had our campaign closing, he was there watching as our people were injured. He stood there. In fact, yesterday when they asked the police why you're not doing anything, they said they can't do anything without instruction. They're waiting for instruction. What instruction do you need to do your job? What instruction do you need to protect people who are harmless and are being attacked by a few people? I'm going to say this, and I'll say it very clearly. These attacks came directly from CDC. These attacks are the result of CDC's rhetoric, their statements, their hates, their division. When NEC came out with that ruling that we should have a rerun in District 15 in these 6 quarantine areas, I told our team members that we will be in a mess. Because what their strategy will be to just use violence as a means to intimidate our supporters, intimidate us and stop us from being free, violating our rights as Liberians to move around in the district. In one day, it was shown. They have planted cells in these communities and in these areas to ensure that nobody from Telia Urey can. Since they say we're peaceful people, we're not militants, we're not thugs, we're not hooligans, they'll make it impossible for us to move around because they control violence in this country. They are the ones that can break laws and be protected by the same law enforcement officers that should be enforcing our laws. Tomorrow morning, the CPP will be filing complaints at NEC about electoral violence. It's very disappointing to say that we have not seen any firm statements against the violent acts against us from NEC. But tomorrow we're going there with documented evidence of all of the attacks that our people have had to endure. We will not stop until we get justice. All of the hospitals, the hospital bills, the injuries, the government will have to say something about it, and will not stop until they do say something about it. Campaign, our campaign in District 15 for this rerun will be impossible. We will not put our supporters at risk. I'm telling you that over 50 people have been hurt, injured. Who are we? Who are we to put all these people back in the street to say go and campaign? For what? To be representative? It's not that important. It may be so important for them to go and hurt people, but it will never be so important for us to put people in harm's way in the name of campaign, in the name of holding office, in the name of politics. These are the people that we say that we are fighting for. These are the same people that we say when we become representative, we'll be represented for everybody. God forbid Abu Kamara becomes represented in District 15. He will be represented for the same people that he's sending his thugs to hurt. We will not put our people in harm's way. So our complaint at NEC will be very clear. We will not campaign until we feel secure. We will not campaign until we find out who is protecting us. How are we protected? Only at that point will we know that it's possible for us to exercise our rights in this country and in this district. This District 15 elections that people are looking at so lightly is only the beginning. 2020, if we're not careful, if we do not set proper precedent, will be 100 times worse than this. And that is in 2020. I don't even want to talk about that one step. But 2020, we need to be very careful. We need to be extremely careful about this country and the direction that this country is going in. With this, although we're coming out with an official statement from the CPP in a few minutes, I want to also use this opportunity to personally beg the international community to save us. How are we to protect ourselves and the lives of our people? The EU, the ECOWAS, AU, UN, the United States. You're seeing everything that's happening. Please don't let lives be lost before you see the threats that we're faced with. The District 15 election has the propensity to create serious violence in this country. And when we get to that point, it will be difficult to control. So I want to ask the international community to step in, and step in a very strong and firm way that represents people who have interest in this country. People who want to see this country move in the right direction. You have invested in this country. You have invested in the peace and stability of Liberia. We cannot let one group of people, in the name of saving face, to destroy what we have maintained for the past 18 years, I would say. Liberia is not for one group, it's for all of us. President Weah is not for one group, he's for all of us. Protecting the peace is paramount. Protecting the lives of our people should be number one on all of our agendas. We will not stand for violence in this country. Not our country. Not our Liberia. We've seen too much. We've been through too much. And one president that has not proven himself will not derail what we have all gained. A short message to the people of District 15. I want to assure the people of District 15 of my commitment to peace, my commitment to stability, my commitment to protecting the lives of everyone, including Seditians in District 15. Let's not forget that we are one. Let's not forget that when this district goes down, all of our lives go down. And when this district gets better, all of our lives will get better. Look at us today. People are laughing at us, wondering what's going on in that place. Are we barbarians? Are we hooligans? Are we thugs? Who are we? I want to ask all of you, hold on to peace. To my brothers and sisters in CDC, stop the violence. Stop the attacks. Do not be used by anybody. Anybody that loves you will not send you in harm's way. Anybody that loves their country, loves their people, wants to see our lives move forward, will never send you to attack another brother or sister. I'm not from Logan Town. I'm from Caldwell. And I'm proud to be from Caldwell. Caldwell is District 15. Nobody owns District 15. With this, I'll close and I'll say that we'll stand very firm against our aggressors. We'll stand very firm against the president of Liberia, against the justice minister, and against the police force. Nobody will intimidate us. We're bigger than the president. We are bigger than the minister of justice. We are the people that they serve. And in case they forgot it, I want to remind them today that your job is to protect us. And right now, we are unprotected. Thank you.
Now, you heard that press conference. Liberia, I would tell you as your brother, those of you who following this president and being violent, stop that crap. You're making yourself look bad before the world. This is not what Africa is supposed to be. You have a democratic election. You make your voice heard at the polls, and then that's it. No one has to be violent. And those police, do your job. You're not supposed to be allowing anarchy in the streets with no law and order. Because I tell you this, if I had to be the president, that wouldn't be going on, because every last one of y'all that picked up a rock, y'all be in jail. Every last one of y'all. I wouldn't play that mess. I would have peace in the valley if I had to be a president of an African nation. We wouldn't play none of that mess or no crime. No. We need to put that energy into making the country better. Make Liberia great. Do that. Take that same energy you got throwing rocks and put something to yourself. Because the way some of y'all looking out there acting a fool, let me look into your situation. I wonder if you got a job and you work that hard in your job and applying that to your family instead of going out there to some future politician's headquarters and throwing a bunch of rocks. That's silly. That makes you look real bad. But we're going to also keep up with this story, because George Weah is wrong. He's wrong. He's completely wrong. And sir, you need to fix this, because you're wrong. That's not the way you handle things. You don't stir up people. Number one, if the people who really thought about things, the unemployment rate is very high. They should be pissed off at you, sir, about the unemployment rate, not throwing rocks at her. She ain't got nothing to do with the unemployment rate. You got something to do with the employment rate. That goes to any president. If you got a bad unemployment rate, that focus on your president and the government that runs that. Focus on George Weah and say, hey, man, bring Liberia together. Don't sit up here and try to tear us apart. I mean, you already had a long civil war. What you trying to do, stir up another one? And then what you going to do if a civil war gets stirred up? You're going to pack your bags and you're going to leave, and you're not going to come back, and you're going to be fine. But what about the people there that you got stirred up to be fighting against each other? That's sad. That's not any kind of leadership, and that's not any way to make Africa great. And I also call on the African Union. I'm calling the African Union out on this one. You get involved with this. I heard her calling all these other European entities. I don't want them involved. The African Union, you need to get involved with this. This is on your watch. The ECOWAS that she called out, you get involved. Neighboring nations get involved with this. Holler at him. Tell him, hey, this is wrong. The president of Ghana, all y'all, Nigeria, all y'all get together and talk to him and say, hey, we need to cease that. This is not the Africa that we're trying to create. We're going to have peaceful elections from now on. The brothers on the continent have to handle this. The African Union have to handle this. You don't need European influence in your business. Africans don't need Europeans to solve their problems. Solve your own problems. And you got enough people. You got 54 different nations that could come in and assist with trying to make a peaceful election. But y'all better than that. And the president, if he's going to act like that, you need to impeach him out of office. Because that was utterly ridiculous what we saw in this video. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the situation going on in Liberia. That is wrong to be terrorizing people over, an election. Really? Let's have some human decency and common sense, and stop acting like Pookie and Ray Ray throwing some rocks. That made y'all all look like y'all fools before the whole world. And I'm calling y'all, and I'm telling you this out of tough love, because the white media not going to talk to you like I'm going to talk to you. It didn't make no sense what we saw in this video.